Hi, my name is Sino Hinojosa. I am the producer and director of Dark Harvest.
I'm Joel Hinojosa. I'm a producer, post-production supervisor, and the lead editor on Dark Harvest.
Today, in this behind-the-scenes episode of Dark Harvest, we want to talk a little bit about camera selection and what we decided as far as what kind of cameras we're using for the film.
We were testing 3 cameras initially, the Panasonic AF-100, the Canon 5D Mark II, as well as the Red 1 camera.
Right, and to do those tests, we had Marlon Torres, who will be our second unit camera operator, as well as our special effects supervisor, along with our director of photography, Lung Tao Chang, helping us try to figure out what the best cameras were.
We have so many great cameras out there, and everybody can call themselves DP, with little, 5Ds, and everybody does pretty good job on getting image. Right, it's just more of how you deliver it. I think that's more important.
Going into it, we obviously were aware that the Red 1 is going to come out on top in terms of, overall quality. Absolutely. That wasn't really the point of the test. The point was more what is the best camera for our script.
And what are the best options for us, because our film has a lot of scenes that are a little darker, and the concern with a lot of the other cameras, you might work really well in lower light, like the DSLR cameras work great in low light, but they don't handle blacks as well or as effectively as some of the higher sensor cameras. Being able to look at a 5D or 7D or the AF-100 or the Red camera all at the same time looking at one image. And I think what we found is the fact that it does come down to each tool is good for different things. I think if we end up having to shoot in a very close confined space, we might have some of the film shot in with a DSLR just because the portability and the size. Well, let's talk a little bit about the DSLRs. What are the pros and cons of shooting on the DSLRs?
I mean, the compression is the biggest thing in terms of a con. Everyone knows that. There's compression, moire.
The AF-100 is a Panasonic rig that allows you to actually have different lenses on it and actually, put different things on it, which is more like the DSLRs.
Sensor size for these cameras, it's definitely a huge factor.
So we got the Red ones from NorCal Red, and they upgraded the sensors to the new MX
this
sensors.
Is very nice. Yes.
So what does that sensor do that the old cameras didn't do?
First of all, it upgrade the native film speed from 320 to ISO 800, and gives you almost like 2 stop over. I mean, it makes so much easier to shoot in the low light situation, and then it gives a very clean black. It's a much less noise overall.
The thing with these cameras that it feels like not as many people talk about is the fact that the 5D has a very large sensor. When you're compressing it and you're putting that sensor through such a narrow compression scheme, like what you're getting out is a fraction of the quality that can be obtained with that sensor.
I think one of the reasons that we selected the Red 1 camera with the MX sensors is quite simply that it holds up better in the practical aspects of what we'll be shooting with the kind of details that we want, the way we want it to look. But it also gives us that flexibility in post. I mean, one of the biggest issues on the other side, on the flip side of the negative side of using the Red camera is the simple fact that it's huge.
Plus, like in some public area, it's like in case you're going guerrilla, you don't have any permit, with a little DSLR, you look like tourist, so everybody lets you in, you shoot your thing, then you get out. So.
Right.
Versus this huge thing, you go in, it's like, oh no, you can't film me here.
You can't get away from the idea that this is a huge camera, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
On the post end, there's a lot more data to be captured, shooting in RAW, so all that information's there. That's just a lot more than if we were shooting 1920 by 1080 on any of these cameras, and we would, for the most part, keep the whole project online the entire length of the project. This way, it necessitates an offline to online conform.
And to speak to that point, in order for us to facilitate that, we brought in Thomas Cook, who's going to be our DIT. One of the best things that we have going for us is the fact that we have some really talented people that have an idea of not only the look, but also the style of how something is going to be shot. With LT Chang, he has a definitive sensibility as far as he has an idea and he wants to get us to that place, and collaborating with him is going to make it a lot easier for us. So all the camera tests that we produce will make a big difference in the success of this film.